Health experts are again calling for action to tackle obesity today. Senior doctors from a number of organisations have published a report issuing fresh warnings over the health risks associated with obesity. Now, the report predicts that obesity levels are set to rise dramatically within the next 15 years. We're here with a bit more about the problem. Nick Hyam with his fact file.
There's no mystery about why we get fat. It really is down to eating too much food and taking too little exercise. Get the balance between food and exercise wrong, and the surplus food turns to fat. What's remarkable is the sudden increase in the past few years in the number of people who are worryingly overweight or obese. According to today's report, around 2/3 of us are now overweight, and there's been an explosion in the numbers who are obese. In 1980, 8% of women and 6% of men were obese. 12 years later, and those proportions had increased 3 or 4 times to 23% for women and 22% for men. By 2020, at least 1/3 of adults may be obese. Today's report calls it an obesity time bomb. Obesity is bad news for individuals and bad news for society. If you're obese, you're more likely to die young. Obesity knocks 7 to 9 years off your life expectancy. You're more likely to suffer from diabetes, from heart problems, from liver problems, and a host of other conditions. And treating people with obesity is reckoned to cost the NHS £500 million a year and society as a whole £2 billion. But why has there been this sudden increase? Well, lifestyles have changed dramatically in the past 15 or 20 years, partly because we're better off. We spend more time watching television, playing on computers. We take the car rather than walking or cycling. We take the lift rather than going up the stairs, so we take much less exercise. At the same time, we eat much more, and it's the wrong sort of food. More food in restaurants and fast food joints, more processed foods, more snacks full of extra sugar and fat, more alcohol. So what's to be done? Well, the answer, according to health experts, is more exercise, at least half an hour's brisk walking or the equivalent every day, and an hour for children, and fewer fatty snacks and more fresh fruit and vegetables. Finally, how do you know if you're overweight or obese? Well, the answer is to find your BMI, or body mass index. And to work out your BMI, do a little sum. You take your weight in kilos and divide it by your height in meters squared, that is, multiplied by itself. If you're a healthy weight, you should end up with a figure somewhere between about 18.5 and 25. Higher than 25 and you're overweight, higher than 30 and you're obese. Take me as an example. I weigh 81 kilograms and I'm 1.8 meters tall. 1.8 times itself squared is 3.24. Divide 81 by 3.24 and you get 25, right on the borderline between a proper weight and overweight. So, no more sticky buns for me. That's easy. But reducing the epidemic of obesity in society at large, which is particularly bad among the poorest and the least well-educated, well, that's a lot more difficult.
Nick Hyam explaining it all. Well, Professor Carol Black from the Royal College of Physicians is in our Westminster studio, and she joins us now. So where should we start? Parents, I suppose?
Yes, indeed. It is a problem of children. I think in the report you will see that in the last 10 years, in the ages 2 to 4, we've got a doubling of obesity. And in the 6 to 15-year-olds, we've got a trebling of obesity. So this is down to the family environment, the type of food that is served at home, the availability of fresh fruit and vegetables, the amount of exercise that is done both around the home and with the family. So it is a family problem. If your parents are obese, then you're more likely to be obese. So I think it is very much beginning in the home and with the parents.
And continuing the education through school years, and particularly activities within school.
And making the most of that. I mean, I know now that we have many more exercise facilities in some of our schools, but this has got to be part of everyday life. It's got to be something that we do naturally. If it's safe, we've got to encourage our children to walk to school or bicycle to school. I think there have to be enhanced sports facilities in our schools and really in our public places.
Is it right to say the government should do more, or is it a personal thing?
It's a mixture. What we were saying in our report is we would like the government to take a very strategic look at this and come up with a strategic plan that involves us all, that involves individuals, the NHS, doctors, healthcare workers of all kinds, our schools, our local environments, and indeed the government itself. But I think it needs coordinating all the very good things that are going on, and to make us want to empower people and to change our environments and to encourage people that it is possible not to be over obese and therefore to call to premature death.
Professor Carol Black, thank you.